Hello and welcome to the DSP Project. I am your host Rupert Brown, and today I'm going to be reviewing this, the MINIAK synthesizer made by Akai Professional. Now it is quite a nice heavy unit. It's got a reassuring weight about it. On the back it's got a nice steel base plate and some big chunky rubber feet to keep it in place. On the front it is made of plastic, but it actually feels quite nice. It actually still feels quite quality, and as I say, it's got a reassuring weight to it. There's a distinctive style coming across all the new Akai products, all the black stuff. I don't know if you can see on the end there, there's sort of got that sort of shape coming through, and those little indents on the side actually make it really good, nice and easy for picking up and moving around as well. Now, Akai might not be the first product that comes to mind when you think about synthesis, but you may be surprised to find out that they released their first synths in the 80s, so technically this is not new terrain for them. Also, the Akai brand is as part of the same group of products as Alesis, so I imagine the Alesis synthesis engineers had a big role to play in creating this unit. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Micron DNA, Alesis Micron DNA, isn't inside this unit as well. So yeah, it's a fairly good, it feels good and it looks good, but let's take a closer look. On the front panel we have a pitch bend wheel, 2 assignable modulation wheels, 3 assignable endless rotary encoders. We have a performance control section and a program control section. We have the data wheel with a config and store button and a master volume. On the rear of the unit we have the power on and off, input for the power adapter, and one of those handy knoggly jogs to stop the lead from being pulled out. Audio output, headphone output, external input, expression and sustain pedal inputs, MIDI through, out and in, and one of those little laptop locky thingies. Now you could be forgiven for thinking this is quite a simple unit by just taking a quick glance at the front face, but the fact of the matter is there's actually quite a lot going on here. Not only is there a full synthesizer, but there's also an arpeggiator, there is a step sequencer, you can also record your own sequences live, which is nice and easy to do that on the fly, and there's also a drum machine built in here as well, which was quite a nice addition. Now the hi-hats and snare sounds were okay, they're sort of your standard synthesized hi-hat snare sound, but the kicks were excellent. I really liked the kicks. There's some really meaty, chunky kicks that would definitely make a good system heave, so the kicks were top notch. There are a set of presets for the beats as well, and most of your standard electronic type of genres are catered for, as well as some more interesting experimental stuff. As you can hear, the vocoder works just fine and is capable of producing all the kind of standard vocoder sounds and some slightly more crazy stuff as well. I have to say though, personally I'm not a big fan of vocoders in general. I think they've been overused in modern music, but if that is the sound you're after, you'll be able to achieve those results with this unit. The unit has 4 main modes: programs, which are like your synth patches, rhythms, which is your drum machines, sequences is where you store your arpeggiated type parts, and multis. Now the multis are the most interesting part, where you can set up very complicated keyboard splits and have a rhythm on one key that latches, and then maybe a bass part in the middle, and then let's say an arpeggiated lead at the top, and you can set to the key exactly where these parts are. You can have multiple parts, you can have them overlapping, you can do just about as much as a number of voices will allow. So I think for a performance aspect, the multis would definitely be quite useful. To jump to a parameter, push the data encoder, hold down the program button and push the key that relates to the parameter that you want to change. This is actually quite a fast way to jump straight to the parameter you want to edit. When you're finished, just push the program key again and you're ready to continue playing. Now for the most important question, how does it sound? I'm happy to report that I think it sounds quite nice. It is a very capable synth that can produce most of the classic analog sounds that you could be after. It doesn't sound necessarily exactly like some of the older analog kit that it's trying to model, and it's maybe a bit more cleaner, maybe, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that it's got its own unique sound. Now, the reason I know it can produce most of the classic analog sounds is because most of them are already programmed for you. With 600 presets, you're guaranteed to find something pretty close to what you're after, which is great because you can get it out of the box and start having fun with it straight away. But also, if you're looking to create your own unique sounds, it means you can get to something that's similar to where you want to go and work from there, which is going to get you to where you're trying to get to quicker, which is always a good thing. Now to talk about the things I didn't like about this unit. First of all, the lack of USB is quite an oversight, I think. Especially with a unit like this that's really powerful, it would be so much nicer to access all those parameters from a single computer screen. Also, if you've got a keyboard sitting at your desk, you really want to use it as a MIDI controller. Now, it does have MIDI outs, and so if your interface has a MIDI input ports on it, then you're fine. However, the fact of the matter is, a lot of audio interfaces these days don't come with real MIDI ports anymore, so that's you're not going to be able to use it in that capacity unless you get some sort of a converter or an extra box. Now the display, they took the choice of blue on blue, which looks really cool, but isn't that practical. It works fine if you're standing up, so in a performance situation the display is going to be fine. However, I found at the desk, as soon as you get off axis, it's quite hard to read. You can adjust the contrast to the angle that you're at that makes it work, or you can work right over the top of it to see what's going on. Also, the display is inset quite deep into the body of the unit, so if you're looking in at an angle, the bottom of the bottom row gets cut off, which is not ideal. Next, the modulation wheels. With the endless encoders, if you turn them, it shows you what parameter you're adjusting. Now, with the two mod wheels, unfortunately, they don't do that, so you just have to take a guess at what you're controlling. Finally, I used this product pretty solid for about the last 2 weeks, trying to really give it a good thorough testing, and I did run into an error message once. Although I have to say, to Akai's credit, I went to their website, there is a phone number for service, I rang it up, and I was almost instantly talking to not only a real human being, but a real human being who knew what he was talking about. And I have to say that level of service is unfortunately very lacking with most manufacturers. With a lot of places, you send an email off and you're lucky if you get an email back a few days later. But I was able to speak to someone straight away, so I have to give credit where it's due as far as the service department is concerned. In conclusion, I think this unit would be more at home on the stage than it would be in the studio. When I first got it, I thought it was going to be merely a preset machine, and it works very well in that capacity. With all those sounds, you can start having fun and making music straight away, which is great. But I was fearing having to delve into it and really start making my own patches just without the USB functionality. Although I have to say my fears were largely unjustified, as the shortcut system works really well and all the menus are laid out quite intuitively, so after a few hours you'll be able to move around very quickly and produce the sounds that you want to make. I think if you're looking for something to take out and play, something for shows or tours or what have you, then this could definitely be a great unit in your arsenal, maybe alongside a sampler like an MPC or even a computer-based setup. However, if you're looking for something solely to live in your studio, I don't know if this is going to be the right unit for you. That has been my review of the MINIAK synthesizer by Akai Professional. If you have one of these units or you've heard one of these units, I'd love to know what you think. Please head down to our website, theDSPproject.com, and leave a comment underneath this video. If you want, you can also subscribe and get all the new episodes delivered to you. And finally, you can contact me direct at inbox@theDSPproject.com. That's all we've got time for today. Join me next time where we will be talking about something else.